Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today with my April, May empties. Now, I didn't do an empties in April. I usually do them once a month, but I think I was a bit slow with my empties. And then when I did accumulate enough, I had some Project Pan stuff in here that I hadn't reported on yet. So I don't like to give away what products I've used up in my Project Pan in my empties, so I try to do them after my Project Pan check-in. So this one's a bit late, but you know, it is what it is. If you're not familiar with what empties is, it's pretty much crazy people that collect their own rubbish. No, it is when I finish up a makeup product or a beauty product or a skincare product or a hair product, I put it aside and then I do a recap of what I think about that product overall after I've used it to completion, and whether or not I liked it enough to want to repurchase it in the future. So that's pretty much what an empties is if you're new here. All right, my newest empty is this guy here. This is from Dear Claire's, and this is the Toner Mate 2-in-1 cotton pad. So they're little square cotton pads. We got this from Yes Style, and I really liked these. This contained two types of cotton pads. I did talk about these in a favorites a couple of months ago. There's compressed cotton pads and sponge cotton pads. I loved the compressed ones. If you wanted to see the texture of them, it was in a favorites a couple of months ago. Don't go down the rabbit hole. I'll just try to tell you what they're like. So they're like little squares and they're compressed. They're not like that, you can't pull them apart really easily. They're very firmly pressed together. They're very, very, strong. They're great. Like if you find that you're removing your nail polish or something and the cotton just starts falling apart, these ones are like heavy duty. They're very, very good. I would definitely repurchase these. I do have some cheaper ones from Daiso that I'm using at the moment that aren't as good as these. These are very unique. But like I said, I liked the compressed ones more than the sponge ones. So I would love for there to be 120 compressed ones rather than 60 compressed and 60 sponge, because the sponge ones I didn't mind, but I was really impressed with the compressed ones. So if you can get a packet of compressed ones, let me know. I will buy it. But this was if you like a good quality cotton sort of pad, this is it. All right, I've got some big bottles here and some clear bottles, hooray. So we'll start with this one. So this is the cleansing oil from Muji. I actually picked this up in Japan. You can get them in Australia. You can just go down to the city and pick some up. I didn't ever use this on my face, and not that I don't think it's a good cleansing oil on my face. It's just that it's a fairly affordable one. And this is a 400 ml bottle. And what this was fantastic for and what I used it for was cleaning my sponges. So the way I clean my sponges, because I wear long wear foundation, long wear concealer, it's very hard to get out of your sponges. If you keep trying to like work your sponge, you can create little like holes in your sponge and you can sort of wear them away really easily. So what I like to do is I take a sponge that is covered in generally dry foundation by the time I wash it, and I don't put it under any water. I just pump a few pumps of cleansing oil on it, and I often like work it in and then I put it to the side and let it sort of meld in there. Sometimes I'll do it on a few sponges at the same time, and then when I think that's sort of worked in enough, I then rinse it and wash it. And because cleansing oils like the one from Muji emulsifies, so it turns into a milky product, it doesn't leave an oily residue. Not only does it like totally remove the makeup in a sponge, almost like to the point that it's completely, almost looks brand new, but it doesn't leave any oily residue in there, which is fantastic. So I would definitely repurchase this. I actually have a backup under my sink that I will eventually use for sponges. And I really like cleansing oil for sponges. I think it's the best method to wash your sponges. It's like your first cleanse, then you cleanse with your normal sort of sponge cleanser to just get any residue out. But you want to pick a cleansing oil that's reasonably affordable. You don't want to use your Shiramura cleansing oil. It's just not worth it. They're very expensive. Use those on your face. Try to find more affordable ones for your sponges. Currently, I've got a Neutrogena one that I'm using on my sponges that I didn't like on my face, so it's going on my sponges. But be careful. I have heard that some oils break down sponges. Like it makes them crack. This one definitely doesn't do that. The Neutrogena one definitely doesn't do that. I've washed a variety of different sponges, whether it's Beauty Blender, Eco Tools, Real Techniques, Alla Cosmetics, Linda Hallberg, L'Oreal sponges. I've tried so many sponges with these cleansing oils and they're totally fine, but I have heard some other ones like, I'm going to say Clinique, maybe a Clinique cleansing oil breaks down sponges. Before you do use an oil on your sponges, if you're not too sure about it, do a test on a sponge that you don't really like. But from my experience, this Muji one's fantastic at cleansing sponges, and I will repurchase it for that purpose. I'm sure it's great on your face as well. I've just got a bit of a graveyard of cleansing oils, so the more affordable ones I use on my sponges, the sort of more expensive luxe ones I use on my face. Speaking of luxe, this is a very expensive micellar water, and okay, so this is the BioEffect Micellar Cleansing Water. I did like it. I did like that the bottle was so clear and sleek. One thing I hated about it was that this isn't like a cap that you pop off. You actually have to, every time you use it, you have to twist it off, pour some out, twist it back on. And I know that doesn't seem like a big hassle, but every day when you're doing that, you're like, I just want something that pumps out and that's really simple. This annoyed me. What also annoyed me is the price tag. This is very, very expensive. BioEffect is a great brand, but it's not a cheap brand. And I think it is worth, how do I say this? I think BioEffect products, there are some products in their range that are totally worth the money, hands down. Their EGF serum is fantastic. I would pay that, no problem. I would not pay the money when it comes to micellar water. This micellar water was good. It was not fragranced, it worked well, it was great. It reminded me of Bioderma, but it's about 3 times the price of Bioderma. So there's no way I would repurchase this. If I was investing in anything from BioEffect, I would try their serums. Their serums are fantastic. You don't need to spend this amount of money on a micellar water, but it was a good micellar water. And if you really like the brand, or you really want to spend a lot of money on the aesthetics of this clear bottle, feel free, do whatever you need to do. If you want a whole skincare range, BioEffect, go for your life, more power to you. But personally, I would not spend this much money on a micellar water. And I didn't. This was a PR sample and I did enjoy it, but I would not recommend it for the price. Oh, speaking of cleaning sponges and brushes, this is the Sig Magic Brush Shampoo Foam. Now, I was a little bit surprised by this. I sort of expected from a brand that is predominantly about brushes that their brush foam product would be phenomenal. It wasn't. It wasn't bad. It just didn't clean foundation, concealer, cream products out of brushes. It didn't clean sponges well. It pretty much only cleaned powders well. So this was good on eyeshadow brushes, face powder brushes, bronzer brushes. But if there's anything long wearing cream, even gel liners, this would not clean it properly. So I didn't love this and I wouldn't repurchase this. One thing I did like about it though was the fact that it was in one of those foaming pumps. So you pump out like a pile of foam, and I really liked that because I like brush shampoos, but I find that when they're in the gel form, they can often take a lot to remove from a brush. So if you've sort of overloaded your brush with brush shampoo, I'll just put this down so I can talk with my hands. If you've overloaded your brush with brush shampoo, often you have to really work at the brush to remove all the shampoo residue. Whereas when it was in a foam, you actually apply less of it and it sort of dispenses through the brush and the sponge a lot faster. So I found that was great about it. I would love to get something like the Daiso Puff and Sponge Cleaner in a pump, like a foaming pump version like this. That would be fantastic. So I liked the mechanism of it. I really didn't love the product. It was usable. I used it up, but I wouldn't repurchase it. I used up a candle. This is from Circa Homes, and this was the 1980 Fresh Linen Soy Candle. Now I did like this. It smells like fresh linen. It's very fresh. It's very light. It's nice sort of spring candle, summer candle that gives you that clean scent. I particularly like these types of scents in an apartment because unless I have my balcony doors wide open, which is often bad in winter because it's cold. In summer, it can be too hot. You can let the flies in. I'm just looking at flies flying around now. Damn you flies. But you want something that makes your house sort of smell fresh. This was a really nice candle. I like Circa Homes. My favorite candle from Circa Homes is a blood orange one. I also tried, I smelled a mango one in store the other day. It was really nice. So even though I did like this, I probably right now wouldn't repurchase the fresh linen one. I'd probably go for the blood orange or a different one. Right now I'm sort of into more fruity scents, but this, if you like fresh linen, this is a really nice one. And for reference, the company that makes Glass House candles also makes Circa Homes. So this is a slightly more homeware version of it. It's a little bit more minimal. Sometimes the scents are a little bit more tame, but they have the same nice quality that Glass House has. So there we go. All right, I used up a shower gel. This is the same Touch on Body Water Mint Body Wash. I did talk about this in a favorites a few months ago because I love the scent. It smells very, let's say, it just smells, look, anything that has like a watery scent or an airy scent or an ocean scent, I really like those because I like that fresh sort of, water scent. I don't know what it is. This has that fresh water scent mixed with sort of like sweet flowers. It's very nice. I really enjoyed it. I have another one in my shower. That's how much I enjoyed it. After I use my second one, I will probably take a break because I get sick of scents pretty quickly, but I really did like this. I got it from YesStyle, so there we go. I will list everything in the description box, so if I'm butchering a name of something, you can read it correctly in the description box. All right, another product that I got from Japan. When I went to Japan a couple of years ago, I stocked up on cleansing oils. That's why I've got a graveyard of them under my sink. I've got heaps of them. I bought probably about 5 of them. And this is from Senka. This is the Perfect Watery Oil. I actually had this for a very long time because I also bought the refill bag, which was a lot bigger than this bottle. Anyway, so I've been using this for the longest time. This is not a bad cleansing oil. Once again, it does remove makeup very well. It does emulsify. It is quite thick, so it's thicker than what I prefer. I like the more watery cleansing oils, but you know, it was fine. You can buy these in Daiso now in Australia. They're not cheap, but you can get like this whole range in Daiso. And if I probably wouldn't purchase this again because, like I said, it is a little bit thicker than what I like. It does emulsify easily, so it doesn't leave an oily residue, so that's great. I just prefer the feel of a more luxurious sort of thin cleansing oil. I just prefer it. So even though I did like this and I used it for the longest time, I think because I had pretty much, I think like 2.5 bottles with the refill, I've been using it for nearly a year, so I'm well over it now. But it is a decent product. Another YesStyle purchase. This is from Eliza Vecca. This is a green tea salt body scrub. And even though I did like this body scrub, like I like the stuff inside, I wouldn't repurchase this. The salt sort of sunk down the bottom and created this like thick layer of salt that was really hard to squeeze out of the tube. And then up the top, it was all like the body lotiony, body wash sort of part of it. So even though it was a nice product and it was I really like tube salt scrubs because bag salt scrubs, you can get a lot of water in there. It can get very messy, so I prefer a tube. My preferred method is probably a tub of a really thick salt scrub, so you just have to scoop some out and put it on you. I think that's my preferred method. But I did find that if you want a really salty, like a really scrubby body scrub, a tube doesn't work unless the tube is, like the dispenser is really thick, which this one isn't. And I just really struggled with it. Like it just got clogged every time I went to use it. So I actually had to depot it and put it into a tub and use it that way. So I wouldn't repurchase this just because the mechanism was very annoying. I used up a Pixie Spray. So this is the makeup finishing mist. It's the rose water and green tea one. Now I did enjoy this. I like the Pixie mists. My favorite one is the one I'm currently using, which is the Milky Spray. That one is fantastic. I would buy it time and time over this one. So I wouldn't repurchase this one even though it was nice because the Milky one shits all over it. The Milky one is awesome. This one is good. So I would prefer awesome over good any day of the week. All right, the one hair product that I used up was a conditioner. This is from Davines. So this is the Your Hair Assistant Prep Mild Cream. For fine to medium hair, I do have fine hair. I do have a lot of hair, but it's fine. And that's why it sits kind of stringy because it's very fine and annoying. So I did quite like this. I liked the format of it. It was a thick conditioner. It felt nice in the hair. It worked well. It didn't weigh my hair down too much. I do have the one for thicker hair currently in my shower. I'm using that very sparingly, but I really like Davines and I like this range. We've been hooked up with a lot of this stuff from one of our subscribers, Madeline, who is a lovely person. She's a hairdresser. I'm gonna have to get my hair done by her one day. But we've met her for a coffee. She's lovely and she provides some of these for us. So I do really like this. I prefer the little sachets that I've featured before that she's stocked me up on. So I prefer those over this, but it was a really nice product. But I do really recommend Davines as a range. They've got a lot of paraben and sulfate free products if that's what your hair requires, like if you've got treatments and whatnot. But also I find that their products are just good. Like they're not hard to use. They don't mess around. They don't like weigh your hair down too much. So overall, I've been really enjoying the products I've tried from them. So thank you, Madeline. You're a gun. So the next thing is these makeup wipes from Tony Moly. I don't know how many were in them, but these are the Pro Clean Soft Cleansing Tissues. Now, I don't really like makeup wipes. I don't use them on my face. I know that they're bad for the environment, so I try not to use them too much. But I do find that if I have them around, I do tend to like to use them. Oops, that dropped. I find them really handy when, taking swatch photos or doing your makeup and you're taking a long time to do your makeup, but you want to clean a brush or you want to wipe your hands or something. I find a makeup wipe is very handy. Also, on the Makeup Breakup, we destroy makeup. It gets very messy. So I do like occasionally having makeup wipes around. These were very good. I found that they removed makeup very well. They didn't dry out. This was a small bag, but these worked very well. If I was to repurchase makeup wipes, this would be one that I would check out because I did like them. Look at this squidgy face. Hang on, let's focus on Squidgy McSquidge. Look at your beautiful squidge face. Oh, you're beautiful. Nice to meet you, beautiful boy. All right, on to makeup, and I've only got a few things here. I'll talk about the things that aren't Project Pan products, and then I'll talk about Project Pan products because they're not a surprise. I've already mentioned that I've used those up, but I'll tell you what I think about it. Okay, so non-Project Pan products. I used up a brow pencil. I love this. It's the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. This is in the shade 4. I have a few of these in different shades. I love them. They're definitely a staple in my makeup routine, so I will repurchase this time and time again. It is a very small pencil, so they're not designed to fill in your brow. They're designed to mimic hairs. So what I tend to do, I either use a pomade, a bigger pencil, a powder to fill in my full brow, and then at the front I'll go in and I'll put in just some flicks in there. Maybe I'll define the tail a little bit. I'll fill in any little gaps that I've missed. This is a fantastic pencil. I prefer it over the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, which is the first sort of micro pencil that I used. I find that to be quite firm and a little bit scratchy. I find this to be a lot smoother to apply. So it's not too soft where it's smudging a lot of pigment on your eye. It's like the perfect firmness. You can definitely deposit product without working too hard at it, but you're not depositing too much that it looks too bold. If you are very soft with it, you can make very soft lines. If you're a bit firmer with it, you can make bolder lines. I really love it. So this has been my favorite sort of brow pencil for a long time. I'm going to continue to use them. I am currently using some cheaper alternatives, which I do like as well. I like the color of these a little bit better though, so I will go back to these eventually, but I love it. I feel like I'm finally working through products that I got from Japan 2 years ago. So this is a liner that I got in Japan. It's from K Palette and it's the One Day Tattoo Real Lasting Eyeliner. This had limited edition packaging. I only really opened this last year, so I had it in a drawer for a long time. And even though there is some pigment to it, it is drying out and it's like I'll do one eye well and then the next one will be dry. So I think it's done. I was storing it upside down for ages. I cleaned the brush. This was an eyeliner that lasted pretty well. So if you like a liquid liner and you want a Japanese one, this one was really good. I also like that it had a brush tip and it didn't fray. It didn't sometimes you get them and they sort of warp and look a bit funny towards the end. This one still was nice, had a nice point to it. The liner was quite black. I did find that sometimes, and this sort of irritates me, and this happens with a lot of different liquid liners, which is why I generally go for gel liners. I did find that this can bleed in your inner corner, which irritates me to no end. So that's why it took me so long to use it up, because I didn't use it on a daily basis. I used it sometimes I'd use it to sort of blacken other liners. Sometimes I use it to just define maybe the flick if I haven't done it properly, or sometimes I'll use it to cover my lash band. I didn't use it predominantly as my everyday liner because sometimes it would bleed on me, which ruins the whole look. So I didn't hate this. I didn't love it. I probably wouldn't repurchase it, but if you do love liquid liners, you probably would like this. It's just, I don't love them so much. They don't always work on me. All right, Project Pan products. Firstly, oh my God, Tarte Shape Tape. This is in the shade Light. It's way too light for me. My shade is Light Neutral, which I used up, I think, in my last empties. I think I talked about it. This is just too cool toned. It's just too light. Look at it. It's ridiculous. So I mainly use this to mix in with darker foundations. I also used it on the inner corner a little bit and really worked it into my foundation. But I did use it up. I took out the stopper to get out, all the product. And I really like this concealer. I am sort of rediscovering some of my old favorite concealers before this came into my life. I had 2 tubes of this and they've been going for about a year each. So I've had these for the longest time and it's about time they've gone. You get so much usage out of them though. So if you're worried about the price, don't worry. If you don't use heaps and heaps, like if you don't do these big sort of like I pretty much, when I use this, I might go ... I might put some around my nose a little bit and that's it. If you sort of do those big triangles, this will still last you months and months of use. But if you use it similar to me, where you just put a few dots, because it is quite decent coverage, it does blend nicely. This will last you a year. Like it's massive. But I am finding it quite refreshing to use other concealers. Now, what I did love about this concealer was that it works almost as a concealer and a foundation. So in a pinch, if you're using like a BB cream, you're like, oh, there's areas that just aren't giving me the coverage. You can use this as just dot it on where you need it and just blend it in with your BB cream and it adds coverage. I found that this concealer did not work badly with any foundation. I've got other concealers that I've tried in the past that certain powders, certain foundations, it sort of sits funny with and sort of balls up and sort of separates a little bit. This was such a good multi-purpose concealer. I wouldn't recommend it for people with dry skin because it can make you look very dry. It is a setting concealer, but if you've got normal to oily skin, this is fantastic. And if you want if you really want your concealer to set, it's amazing. I really liked it. I would definitely repurchase it in the future, but like I said, I'm enjoying trying some old favorites. My Maybelline Fit Me, my Maybelline Age Rewind. I'm actually really enjoying rediscovering those, which is what I was using before these came into my life. So I would repurchase, but just not right now. Then I use this lip balm. This is the Harvest Garden Peppermint Lip Balm. I like this. It was a nice peppermint one. Boogie also loves peppermint. Do you want to smell this one? So I really did like this. It worked well as a lip balm. Some lip balms sort of dehydrate your lips and make your lips feel drier. This didn't do it. I love the peppermint oil in it. It made it feel really sort of like fresh and clean and sort of even a little bit like plump. It was nice, but this is discontinued. So I wouldn't repurchase it because it's not around anymore. Last 2 products, I used up an eyeliner by Prestige, which is a drugstore brand. You get it in Priceline. I think they're phasing them out. I don't know if they're still available. But this was, I think, the Total Intensity liner, I think. Anyway, I'll put the name in the description box because it's just a little nub. There's nothing on it. But it was a really nice green color. It was like a mix between an olive and sort of like a, I don't know, foresty green. So it was like the tone of an olive, but it was a little bit more green than an olive. Olives are often green browns or green golds. This was more green. I loved it. I applied it to my waterline all the time. It looked really nice with brown eyes. It worked really nice with bronze colors. It would look nice with this sort of look. So I did enjoy it. It was a nice liner. I would consider repurchasing it, but I do have a few greens, so I don't need to. Then the last thing that I'm throwing everywhere. Then the last thing is a Laura Mercier Caviar Stick. This is a mini. So I got this from a Christmas pack years ago, and this was the last one I had in my collection, and I wanted to use it up. Now, this was a really beautiful, cool tone, sort of taupe color. It was really beautiful all over the lid, so you could either put it all over the lid, blend it in. You could use that as a base if you wanted to. So you could put eyeshadow over the top, What I also liked to use this for was just the inner corner because it was so metallic and beautiful that it really gave the inner corner like a nice pop. I also liked it on the lower lash line, so there's many ways that I like to use this. In the pack that I bought, there was only 2 that I actually finished up. This one, which is called Moonstone, Moon something. I'll put it in the description box because off the top of my head, it's been rubbed off. I don't know the shade, but it was a really beautiful, cool toned shade. I also used the copper one, which was more of a sort of goldy tone. Use it in the same way with more warm looks. It was beautiful. I loved them. But then I had some mattes in that pack and also like a dark olive. I didn't use those. I ended up throwing those out. So I feel like the quality of these are beautiful. I think if you have oily eyelids, these might crease on you a little bit, but all you need to do is sort of set the crease. So maybe apply this on your lid, blend it out, and then put a powder in the crease to stop that creasing. But they wore really, really well on me personally. They looked gorgeous as a pop on the inner corner. My recommendation would be for these, either find a multi-pack where you can get good value for money or buy a shade that you can use in a variety of different ways. I think that's the key to these because if you have a color that you don't wear too often, it's just going to sit in a drawer. So if you like a wash of champagne all over the eye and you're happy with a champagne inner corner highlight, that's the color you should go for. So these are beautiful. I love them. The quality is amazing. I would consider repurchasing some in the future, but I would pretty much only select a few shades that I can use in a multitude of ways because if you can't put it all over the lid and blend it out and have a really quick look, you probably won't reach for it, but the quality is really nice. So I do like these. And the full size are bigger. Like they're expensive, but they're beautiful. All right, guys, those were my April, May, I believe, empties. Hopefully next month I'll have a lot more. I am sort of making a lot of progress on my Project Pan products, so there'll be more and more of those in my empties next time around, but I will probably do these every 6 weeks-ish because that's generally when I have a full video's worth. So if you enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up. If you wanted to see the product list, the names of all the products, I'll list them in the description box in case I was talking too fast. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye.